everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm uploading the kind of second part to this artist copy. So I've made the first video where I talked about how I actually drew the piece with the right proportions and in a lot shorter time frame than I would normally do freehand. And in this video I'm going to be narrating my process of how I completed this artist copy for my A-level sketchbook. There's always something I find really fascinating about watching these type of videos, and I really wanted to make one of my own. I just love how you kind of see the picture build over time. So right now you just see the background fairly pale, and here I'm just adding in some detail finally, the weird blue marks. But I just find it really fascinating to see it all sped up and see the image finally grow from the paper. It's really interesting to watch, so I hope you enjoyed this video. It was actually really fun to make because I was productive and I got video filmed. Also, apologies for the weird angle. This one is particularly weird. I was just trying to find the right place to put the camera. Yeah, it took a lot of tries but you get the gist. You can still see what I'm doing. So in future videos, if I make something like this again, I will try for a better angle. So for this background, because it looked more like acrylic paint, and obviously I was doing it in colored pencil, I used mainly greys and blues for obvious reasons, because that's the main colors that were there. I also used a lot of whites to almost act as like a smudge. It gave it more of a waxy, glossy look at the end, which helped it not look more like colour pencil and, fade into the background rather than having the pencil marks kind of disrupting the overall image. I also used some purples and reds, not a lot of them, but you can see on the image on the right hand side, there's like a smudge and it has kind of purpley undertones, so I just wanted to get a colour closer to that. So here I'm starting on the face. I start with the darker pieces and then quickly draw in the highlights with my white, and then go over with a colour that probably suits most of the face. And then it's just a case of blending the darker colours with the main skin tone colour, redoing the highlights if I need to with the white, and always keeping the pencil sharp, especially with this the face, because it was such a small piece. I wanted to keep the detail in. One of the things you'll see me use here is a yellow pencil. So although the skin isn't obviously yellow, it's more tanned, and obviously I've got a lot of tan pencils around. I've got deeper reds, pinks, oranges, but this yellow helped with highlights so that I didn't always have to use white, which can sometimes make the colour just look a bit washed out, and I still wanted a vibrant colour without using, or while still keeping the highlights, sorry. One thing that I found really fun to do with these clouds, I kind of used a grey and a white again. I used the grey first to kind of set the foundations into where the darker areas were, but then used the white to kind of smudge the sky again, just like I did with the background. But then I decided to go back over with like a paler grey, and this kind of gave the clouds some direction, as I left the lines looking more defined than they would be if I smudged them over with a white pencil. once again, when I'm doing this part of the face with the houses and the road, it was really important to keep my pencils as sharp as I could get them. So you'll always see the little pencil sharpener pot off in the corner. I use that very regularly, especially with these little details in the windows. And here I'm moving on to his t-shirt, so you can see I'm just doing like a foundation colour of grey, and then I went over that with blue. You can also see where I've put in some highlights with the white pencil before I did that. And yeah, you can just see me developing those colours. One thing I used to struggle with, and I still sometimes struggle with it now with colour pencil, is kind of being hesitant. So you'll see that I go in with my darker colours, because if I don't, then I feel like I just waste so much time trying to build up those colours with lighter colours, because I don't want to almost commit to putting that colour down. And I have to get the mentality that once it's down and there's nothing I can do about it. So starting with those darker colours almost takes the sense of hesitance away, and just speeds up the process. So one of the key things about doing almost any piece, especially with an artist copy like this, where the background isn't, ridiculously detailed, but it can swallow up the person because of the similar tones, is to do it first, so that I know I have like a base colour. And also doing the background first makes the foreground pop. It makes the person look like they're in front of the background and not the other way around, which would just look a bit weird. Oh, and apologies for this lighting. I know obviously this video is sped up a lot, but this did take me quite a few hours to complete. So as you can tell, the sun has moved round and cast this really weird shadow to the point where when my hand's not there, you can't actually see some of the photo. I do move the camera setup a little bit a few minutes in. And there, the sun's gone in again. Look at that. Love a bit of natural light, or can always rely on that. So here with this scene in the middle, I went round with a fairly, not too dark, but a fairly noticeable grey, just around the outsides to give it a sense of depth, because I wanted to show, and you can see like the difference in tone between the t-shirt and the scene within the t-shirt almost in the picture. So I wanted to recreate that, and by putting a darker grey around the outline, just emphasize the fact that this was a different, scene, different picture within the artwork itself. It gave it almost like a sunken in feeling, which is kind of what I got from this, as if the t-shirt's been like torn away and what's left is this image of a nice peaceful house. This house was actually quite difficult to draw, just because of the perspective of it, and because of the little outhouse that's attached to it. It just made it really challenging. So I think after this video, I go back and edit those windows a little bit more on the left hand side. They just looked a bit unfinished to me. And once again, I was hesitating on the arm. So the upper arm was fine. Because it was quite, it's because it's quite dark, I didn't need to worry about going over highlights and then not being able to recover them. But the forearm and his hand were a nightmare, because once again I was trying to go over with whites, trying to make it subtle, but then I realised that I was just going to make it a lot harder for myself to add in those dark colours. So again, I had to try and start with the darker shades. As you can see in the hand, I started with the dark brown and then worked my way up with oranges and yellows. Again, I used the pale yellow as a highlight, just because I didn't want to make it look a bit ashy, I suppose, with the white, especially with the dark stick right next to it. I feel like if I used the white, maybe I would have merged those colours together a bit. And finally, these shorts. Now, these were the easiest things to do because they were quite, I don't know, not one shade, but they were obviously one colour, and I just needed to add darker and lighter areas to it. So I started off with a white highlight on this short leg that you're seeing now, and then coloured in the rest with this blue that I found matched almost perfectly to the picture. And then here I'm going in with a darker blue, and then I eventually turned to a black just to really get those contrasts in. One thing I've found when I've done intricate works like this is I sometimes get absorbed in the photo and start to fret about every little thing, and sometimes you just need to take a step back and realise that what you're working on really isn't that noticeable, and stressing over it for 2 hours isn't going to impact your work. So here is the final product. Now, it's not perfect, it doesn't look exactly like the photo, but I am very proud because it took a lot shorter or a lot less time than some of my other artist copies, and it was one of my first times using these pencils properly. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this type of time lapse, then please let me know. I love making these videos, even if I've only made a few. But yeah, I hope you found this just a bit useful. I know it was kind of more of a chatty video, but I just wanted to talk you through my process on making an artist copy. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to see more videos coming weekly. Thank you.